One guy's seen it, the other guy hasn't. First guy's gonna tell the second guy all about it while they both get drunk. All right, we are back with another episode of One Guy's Seen It, the only podcast where one guy has seen the movie, the other guy has not seen the movie, and the first guy is gonna tell the second guy about the movie, and they're gonna nerd out about it, and while getting progressively more inebriated, because that is what they choose to do with their sentience. But without any further ado, rigmarole, hoopla, or ballyhoo, let's get into it. It's been a while, my buddy Sumner, but we have had a pretty wild last month and a half. You came down to Texas, your other home, for like a whole month.
Yeah.
Tell our fans about it.
Yeah, my liver's still in traction. I've been trying to recover, but unsuccessfully. Because, well, I tell you, I was stuck in Seattle for like 2 extra days because I had to fly back on the military rotator, and so I was just in Seattle and nothing to do, so I went to a dispensary by myself, which I had never been to before, which was pretty fun.
Cool.
I bought a 5-pack of joints, and then I smoked like half of one, and then I never touched the other ones. But I mean,
that Seattle weed goes hard.
Yeah, no, it was good. I just sat in the hotel room and watched South Park on Comedy Central, so it was great.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know how anybody can realistically in 2024 get through an entire joint by themselves. It's just a thing I don't understand.
It was tough, yeah. Even halfway down, I was like, you know what, I'm doing fine. And then I'm
fucking blasted.
But then so when I ended up having to go back, like the flight was scheduled, like I had to be at the airport at like 3 a.m, just to check in. So I was literally just waiting around until like 6 a.m. to board this plane for like a 10.5-hour flight.
Yeah, that's not fun.
But the little duty-free shop was open, and for international flights, you can go into the duty-free shop and buy alcohol. So I bought like a little bottle of Tito's at the at the duty-free shop, and then they brought it to me on the plane. And then I just spiked my... So this is the worst part. I was on the plane, and there's like, it's like the 232 seat setup with the aisles going down, and I had a middle seat in the plane. So I had a middle seat for 2.5
shit.
hours. But I had my vodka and poured some Sprite in there, and I drank the whole thing. And I watched Band of Brothers again on the flight back.
Oh my god.
I almost made it all the way through the series. I got like 7 episodes in. But I just wanted something familiar.
You're a mad lad.
Yeah, I just wanted something familiar I could just turn my brain off to. And then
I really think that planes should be like roller coasters. Like if you're over a certain height, you should be entitled to an aisle or window seat.
Yes.
Like you need the leg room.
Yes, I agree completely. That was miserable. But
it's fucked, man.
But I did it, and I flew back, but I flew back into the Yokota Air Base, which is in Tokyo. So, and we live in the northern part, so I had to take the trains all the way back. So, flew in, I got my bags, and I went down to the train station, and then I rode the rails for like another 5 hours to get back to Misawa.
Oh my god, that is an ordeal. But kind of cool though, right? Long train ride.
Yeah, I was up for like 24 hours straight or something like that, just traveling. So it was crazy.
Oh, fuck. But you had fun with me in San Antonio, right?
Dude, I had the best time. I had such a blast. We drank till we were silly, and we did everything. We just played video games and fucked around. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I have to bring up that possibly the highlight of my year was going to a Bolero bowling alley on a Tuesday afternoon when we were the only fucking 2 people in the entire place.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I've had that much fun in public. Like, you know how much you'd have to. I can't even imagine how much it is to like rent out a bowling alley for 4 hours, and we basically did it for free.
Yeah, it was incredible. Well, we played like 3 rounds of bowling, or 4, something like that.
No, we played 5. You beat me in a best of 5. You
shit,
fuck.
That's right.
I'll never forget it.
Barely.
I'll get you next year. You fuck.
But yeah, and then we played video games, and we just got fucked up. It was amazing.
It was pretty awesome. I think we got through at least like stage 4 of the Walking Dead arcade shooter, which was pretty intense with the fully automatic crossbows.
Yeah, and didn't we ride like a Jurassic Park ride or something like that? Like the
Oh man, I almost forgot about that shit. Yeah, that was my first VR experience. This is how far we've come and how old I am that like when I used to go to, you remember GameWorks that was over at the Quarry for a long time when we were growing up?
Yeah, it was right next to the movie theater.
So yes, right next to the movie theater. Like I think I had a couple of birthday parties there.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely had two.
But anyway, they had a Jurassic Park 3 arcade shooter that basically, like, when me and my dad would go, like, that'd be the only thing we would play the whole time. And, you know, I have such fond memories of it, and the graphics were so fucking terrible, and I just didn't care.
Yeah.
But to go from, like, that being the last Jurassic Park themed, like, arcade game that I've played to this fucking VR 4D roller coaster ride that shit was nuts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were the only 2 people in there, and we're just like screaming like idiots. I'm sure the people behind the bar is like, what the fuck is wrong with these 2 guys? Like coming in on like a...
Yeah, the one lady who was wearing all the hats, she was like the shoe lady and the bartender and the chef and the arcade operator.
That's right. She checked us in at the shoe, and then we walked up to the bar and was like, where's a bartender? And like an old bad movie, they just come walking around the bar and it's like, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah, dude. And she was so sweet. Like, if I was her, I mean, I'm sure part of her was happy to just have, like, someone to interact with, but the other part of me was like, oh, she probably fucking hates us right now because she could be sitting there watching Netflix doing nothing.
Yeah, but she did. I mean, she sat at the table and, like, ate her lunch, and she just had to endure us, like, yelling at each other whenever another person would get a strike or something.
We got to be 10 years old for 3 hours, and it was absolutely amazing.
It was everything I thought it could be.
Yeah. But anyway, it's glorious to be back doing another episode of One Guy's Seen It with you.
Yeah, post Saving Private Ryan, which was crazy if you've listened to that episode by now.
Yeah, and you probably will have. We're going to drop that on D-Day on the 25th anniversary? No, wait, what is this? 60th anniversary of D-Day?
80th.
I don't know numbers. 80th. Oh my god. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was June 6th here now. So thank you. Thank you for everything.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, crazy. So it's technically, yeah, that's trippy. So yes, think we are today in honor of the episode that's going to come out today.
Yeah. But that was
but
fun.
Anyways,
but I'm glad to get back to the roots here. Just the MVPs.
Yes. Okay. So what do you got for me?
Well, I got a movie from 1985, and I don't think there's any chance that you'll guess what this is.
Is it Rambo?
No. Yeah, that's a good guess. I think I came out the same year.
Damn, close one.
But the plot of the movie is a truck driver stops at a small family-run noodle shop and decides to help its fledgling business. And the story is intertwined with various vignettes about the relationship of food and love, is the IMDb synopsis.
What? How is this a real movie?
Oh, it's something else. It's something that Andy and I first watched when we got here to Japan. It's a Japanese film. I'll give you that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Stars Ken.
Yeah, so I've probably seen it, you know.
Yeah.
I've probably seen it a few times.
You probably come across it at some point.
Right.
It stars Ken Watanabe, who's in he's got a face, like, when you see him in the movie, you'll recognize him because you've seen him in other stuff for sure. Like, I think he was in The Last Samurai, and like he was in Inception. He's like the guy that, like,
oh, okay,
tells him to, like, you know, incept the main guy. Anyway,
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and then so yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I tried to write down some trivia, but there's not a lot of it has to do with stuff that happens in the movie, not too much about like the production of the movie. So
got it. Okay. Okay, cool. And you said in Andy's only tip for me was to have food nearby when watching it.
Yeah,
right?
It'll make you pretty hungry because there's a lot of eating going on.
Sweet.
So the only thing I wrote down trivia-wise is that in Japan, slurping noodles is considered a polite thing to do. It's like supposed to show appreciation.
Slurping them?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's not considered rude. Although there is a funny scene about slurping noodles in there.
Wait, like so, but are there levels to like how hard you have to slurp for it to be like a sign of respect? Like how hard do you have to, like, that's my question. Like, is it, do people want like a natural slurp, or do they want like an over exaggerated slurp? Like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I'll learn more about it in this movie.
Yeah, I think you could do either. We've heard people slurping before, and honestly, it kind of varies from person to person. Like if you're really hungry, people usually slurp louder and faster.
Cool.
But
yeah, all I can imagine is like Kung Fu Panda loudly slurping noodles right now. I don't know why I can't get that image out of my head.
So the only foreign film you've seen is Kung Fu Panda?
Kung Fu Panda 2, actually.
Kung Fu Panda 2. And then there's.
Although I think there is a new Kung Fu Panda coming out. Sorry, we don't have to keep talking about Kung Fu Panda. Go ahead.
They're coming out with a third one?
Oh yeah, and or maybe it already came out. I remember seeing tepid reviews, but anyway, that's all I've got on that.
And then I wrote down one last thing. It's called Sisophilia. Just keep that in the back of your mind. I won't tell you what it is, but I'll explain it to you after the movie.
Sisophilia.
Sitophilia.
Okay. Is it a fear of noodles? Or no, a sexual obsession with noodles? I'll figure it out.
Could be. Yeah, there could be something about that in there.
Well, cool, man. I'm all about it. You got me hooked. I don't need any more contextual information. Should we do this?
Yeah, the movie is called Tampopo. Is the name of the movie.
Tampopo.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Well, we are gonna go watch this fucking movie, and then we're gonna come back and talk about it. Remember, when you hear that trumpet hook, spoilers are on the way. We will be back. All right, we are back with One Guy Seen It. What the fucking shit? What kind of fucking insane, beautiful masterpiece of insanity did I just watch?
It's Japanese.
Dude, So I get to give overall thoughts first, right?
Yeah.
As the guy who hadn't seen it.
Yeah, whatever you want to talk, whatever jumps out at you.
Okay, so I have absolutely no fucking clue where to start at all. Like there's nowhere that makes any sense to start. So I'll pick something.
Okay.
So, I think what I love. Okay, so I'm going to start with kind of overall vibe, right?
Yeah.
And I think what I loved about this was that it was two movies in one, right? So you've got the story of Tampopo's ramen shop and the A-team being assembled to assist her, right? And then you've got this whole other half of the movie, which is almost this like. And I get, okay, so overall, this is like a cinemaphile's love letter to food is what it felt like to me. And I loved, just because I'm a sucker, I'm a sucker for heavy film grain and heavy halation, and it had all of that I wanted. And this had to be, I looked it up and I couldn't really find anything. This shit had to be shot on Fujifilm. Like the colors were so Fuji. Like all the really rich blacks and greens and blues and like the high contrast and everything. Like I looked it up on IMDb and it just said it was shot on like Panavision cameras and lenses. There's nothing about the film stock, but it had Fuji written all over it. And I don't know if you know anything about like how it was shot, but I loved it. Like the colors were so rich, and especially like a lot of the night shots, like when they're out on the date, and just all the various like city night skyline shots. Like they were so beautiful. I'm just such a sucker for that like rich saturated color film look. So that's my own little nerdy shit. But anyway, going back to like the content of the movie, I love that it was these two movies in one. You've got like all the random day in the life stuff of like just people interacting with food, and obviously it's all in like overly dramatic, really intensely shot ways, like over dramatic situations and whatever. But it was cool. It was like I didn't mind the random little breaks away from the story, and I'm not sure that I've ever seen a movie do that before.
Yeah, I think it's unique in that way, where it's just like, what, we're gonna like go over here for a little while, and it's very art housey, the whole thing, because it's got the main story, but it always spices things up every now and then and takes you somewhere that you didn't expect to go.
Yeah, I loved it so much. There were parts of it that felt like a Western, and parts of it that felt like a mobster movie, and parts of it that felt like nothing I'd ever seen.
It's funny you mentioned the Western thing. So we were looking at some of the trivia while we were watching the movie, and instead of calling it a spaghetti Western, they call it the first ever ramen Western. It's like one of the taglines.
That's so perfect. That's so perfect. Because I know nothing. I looked nothing up, so I'm so excited for all the trivia and shit.
Yeah, it's a very unique movie, and like I really don't have anything bad to say about it. I think the only thing about it I don't like is there's just one little moment where they're like, after the old guy is choking at the restaurant, and then they go to like this other restaurant, and then they like kill the turtle like on camera. This is the only thing.
Oh yeah, the turtle death was fucking brutal.
Yeah, but other than that, I really have no complaints about the movie whatsoever.
And you know what's weird? Like, even though, that was like, I really didn't need to see it. It's like you've got this movie that's sort of this massive love letter to food, and it's almost like you almost can't have a movie like that that's so aesthetic in like the preparation of the food and like the nuances of it, and really up close and personal shots of the food and how it's prepared. It's like I almost don't mind being like, oh yeah, here, this is what's like, this is what's happening. Don't forget, like,
right,
we're killing the shit. I don't know. Like I totally didn't need to see it.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal and out of nowhere, but it's very in like character for the movie. And it's not even like really a criticism against the movie. It's just like, you don't want to see like a live animal being killed on camera, but it does add
especially
to
if
that.
You're seeing this movie multiple times. You've now seen that turtle die several times, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, this is only the second time I'd seen it. I actually forgot that was in the movie until we got to that part. But I think you're right, though. I mean, it adds that element of like, this is where your food comes from every day. So, you know what? Like, take it or leave it. So,
yeah, not that I've ever had soft shell turtle, and not that I ever plan to eat soft shell turtle. But hey,
it scared me away from
I know a lot of people do. Yeah. Man, this was clearly a bunch of really creative, talented people making exactly the movie that they wanted to make, and they just didn't give a fuck, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's like its strongest like aspect is like it really just like in terms of like you were saying, like they have they know what they're doing with like the language of what they're doing. Like it's all very clear from the beginning. Like the lighting's perfect, the cinematography's perfect, and it's just telling this really like neat, very simple story that's really like easy to digest, but all these random little vignettes in there to kind of like spice things up and like add to the overall like thematic element of the movie. And it's I don't know, it's just really enjoyable to watch like all the way through. I don't know, what were your thoughts on I guess on all that stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, all the little cuts to the day in the life stuff of people just interacting with food in one way or the other. Like they made it so that there was basically no excuse to ever stop paying attention. Like, I don't know if, you know what I mean? It's like, I was so in love with the movie from the beginning that, like, I didn't even need, like, I would have been totally fine if none of that happened and it was really just the story of these guys, like, renovating this ramen shop and teaching this woman how to cook ramen.
Yeah.
But, like, it made it so that I was like, okay, like, each time a new scene like that would happen, I was like, okay, I was waiting for this, like, bombshell moment where all of it was somehow connected, and I almost love that it wasn't. It never was. It was just like, it was like candy. It was like, here, the main meal is this story of this woman, then here's some fucking random cinema candy, like, thrown in there in between, like, all these like over the top contrived situations, but that are so beautifully shot and hilariously shot in a lot of places. I loved it, man. I loved everything about it. I could have done without the hilarious breastfeeding credits scene at the end.
And that's where we all start, you know, most of us.
Yeah, the first food. It's the whole thing is just an ode to food, right? I mean, they got to do it.
Yeah, and I think it's as much like a love letter to movies as it is to food as well. There's all these like weird cinematic things, and like, you know, you got the John Wayne kind of guy walking in with like the big, you know, like like cowboy hat and like off the road from the truck. But it's
he would have just as easily worked in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, and then you get all these shots like a Sergio Leone, like the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or something like that. All these like crazy close like shots and like all these really depthful like Western kind of looking things, and it's just really funny too. Like all those, the way that's incorporated in like a story about a woman trying to get her ramen shop off the ground and make good ramen.
Yeah, and I think that opening scene like sets the tone for what you're talking about really well. Like the opening scene with the mobster couple, like just at the movies, it sets a wacky tone early, but it also like shows you. It's almost like looking back on it, it's like, okay, like these are people that love movies. They're making a movie that because they love movies, and this is how they're opening it. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It was I love the way that it opened.
Yeah,
and immediately, you know, this broken is kind of fourth wall always does a lot for me.
Oh yeah, well, we were trying to figure out what he was, but I think he's like a Yakuza member or something like that at the movie theater with his girlfriend, and like all the like plates of food in front of them. And he's like talking shit about people that eat potato chips like at the movie theater with like the loud crinkling sound. And he's like,
it was a perfect way to open. And I love that you don't know there's really no context for his life or what he does for a living until he's brutally murdered with the gunman off screen, and it's like it just makes his whole, he's like this myth. He and his girlfriend are like this mythical couple. They're almost in a weird way like narrating the movie without narrating it. They're just like they're keeping it their existence is keeping it from being grounded. It like keeps you in this like fantastical headspace, because every time you get locked into what is inherently like a grounded story of like a woman getting her ramen shop off the ground, they bring you right back to, oh yeah, like I can get lost in like the fantastical nature of this. And that's really aided by the score. Like the epic fucking orchestral music throughout the whole movie was awesome.
Yeah, it's very like classic old Hollywood like film score kind of stuff. Like in parts, just kind of underscores the whole thing. And like you were saying, it's like a lot of the scenes are just like candy. They're just like, they're easily digestible, and like it's just enjoyable. Like there's a point like intended. I just stopped. Yeah. Well, there's a point I just stopped taking notes just because I was just enjoying myself. And like, honestly, like, I don't even know if there's a whole lot of depth to anything that's going on. And it's like, it's not even really the point. It's just like, it's just watching a movie where everything is done really well. And it's just pure entertainment, really. Like at the end of it, it's, I don't know, like that's refreshing to see every now and then.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, and I can't imagine because like, you know, I'm not anywhere even remotely close to as well versed in like older cinema, and you know, like I've seen very few movies that were made from like the 40s through the 80s. I mean, random shit here and there. So like for me watching this movie, I don't know what, like it's hard for me to imagine what it was like for people that saw it at the time, if it would have gone over as well as it did to me, someone who's like not even familiar with probably so many of the influences that it's taking from. You know what I mean? Like when it came out, could it have just been seen as this weird, like, campy thing? Whereas to me right now, it's just like a masterpiece of cinema. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we were reading up about the director while this was going on, and he's got a really interesting history of stuff that he did. But I mean, like, this was kind of his breakthrough into like international circles. Like, it kind of made him more well known in like America. Like this movie did better in the US than it did in Japan, I think.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the references are like to like Americanized kind of movies and things like that. Because I mean, like the whole story of her with the ramen shop is very like Rocky-esque. Like he's like,
yeah, totally.
Like they're going around to all the shops and like trying to make the ramen better, and she's got all these people supporting her. There's even a scene where he's like taking her to run along the bank of the river, which is just like, it doesn't necessarily make any sense for the movie. He's just like training her to get ready to make ramen, but it's very like
it made
on
total sense to me. It's so that she can waste no movement and move the pot of boiling water from one side of the counter to the other quickly. It totally makes sense, Sumner. What are you talking about?
I know. No, you're right. No, you're right. I think he says exactly that. No, but you know what I mean.
I was close when I said I thought it was Rambo. I was close.
You were close, yeah.
It was almost Rocky. It was Rocky with ramen.
Rocky ramen?
Yeah, dude. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's yeah, but there's definitely like a language going on with like definitely like 50s and 60s Western kind of movies, like in a particular setting. I mean, like a lot of anime is set up that way with those you know, very Western style shots, and yeah, I don't know, it's a very unique style. But yeah, but we did read up about the director, so he's a really interesting guy. He started making movies when he was like 51, but we read the story. He made a movie about the Yakuza at some point in his career, like I think post this movie, which is like a very taboo subject. Like you don't talk about the Yakuza because they're still like roaming around and stuff. So he made this movie. Andy, what was it called? She's looking at it.
You know, if Andy was just on the podcast, we would be able to solve these issues.
She didn't have it pulled up. But anyway, he made this movie about the Yakuza, and you know, basically like a satirical, you know, thing about the Yakuza. And
the English translation is The Gentle Art of Japanese Extortion.
The title of the movie was called The Gentle Art of Japanese Extortion, about the Yakuza. So it was a pretty like scathing satire about the Yakuza. But basically, like after that movie came out, the Yakuza found him and like cut him up really bad. Like they cut up his face, cut up his throat and his chest, and like basically we're like, you know, like giving him a warning, like, you know, like don't ever do that again. So a couple of years later, he made another movie about the Yakuza.
Oh my God.
And like the biggest fuck you ever. Like, I'm going to make another one. Go fuck yourself. And apparently, in the production of that movie, they found him, cornered him, and then took him to the top of a building and were like, you know, we're going to shoot you in the head, or you can jump off the building and see if you can survive, kind of thing. So he jumped off the building, and they tried to frame it as a suicide for a really long time, but he died as a result of this.
Oh my God. That is not how I expected this story to end.
Yeah. So he basically died. And there was a line at the end of that first Yakuza movie. It's like, you know, you can either, you know, accept the world around you, or you can stand up for something you believe in. I think it was like one of the last lines. So he was like, he immediately became my hero in that moment. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, what a fucking legend.
Yeah, so he's a really interesting guy. But yeah, I mean, like, you can his love of movies and his like passion for what he's doing is really infectious, especially with this movie. Yeah, one of my favorite Japanese movies, or just movies in general.
Yeah, it was wild. I think that the scene with the homeless guys singing was probably my favorite scene in any movie ever, like hands down. It's been a while since I have cried and laughed hysterically within like 5 minutes of each other in the same movie, and this did that to me. So hats off.
What scene got you crying?
The fucking singing scene with the homeless guys, like wishing their sensei good luck on his adventure. Like, what the fuck? It was so epic.
Yeah. No, it was really epic. Yeah, it's such a
also,
great
for the record, like, I need to know honestly, okay. So you couldn't pay me enough. I don't care.
I think I know where you're going with this.
You could not pay me, like, kudos to the supposed Yakuza couple and the egg yolk scene, because you could not pay me enough to do what those two fuckers did, to pass that egg yolk back and forth. And I'm assuming there was this thing, what was it, sensophilia or something you were going to tell me about?
Oh yeah, citophilia, which is basically you're just like turned on by like food and stuff. And that was like their like kink or something like that.
Yeah, clearly, and seemed to be potentially a kink of the director as well, or of like, 'cause you don't put all that in a movie unless it really speaks to you, right? I mean,
yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I don't know anything about that, but I mean, like I think it was like, like all the other moments in the movie are kind of weird and outrageous kind of thing. It's like, what can you like relate back to food in some ways? Like, well, somebody's having sex with food, or like they're having sex with food or something like that. So I don't know. It seemed like,
maybe it was just rounding out the, like, here are all of the ways that human beings interact with food, period, and you have to include sex.
Yeah, it is jarring the first time you watch it though, because it's like all these like funny, like sweet little scenes, and then this like borderline pornographic stuff comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, it was straight up pornographic, dude. It was intimate.
Yeah. The egg yolk scene is funny to me because watching it this time, because it's a long shot and they're passing it back and forth like 5 or 6 times.
They do it like
between
5
their mouths.
times. Yeah, dude. I couldn't believe every time it happened again. I couldn't believe it was still happening.
Yeah, Andy and I were joking. It was like, how many broken egg yolks did they think they had before they got the right shot?
Oh, man.
Yeah, but it's such a long, drawn-out sequence. It's so fun. But I mean, like, even the stuff at the beginning where, like, there's even a scene before that one where they're like, they got like all this like, oh god, what is it? Room service of like food, and like she's dipping her boob in whipped cream, and like he's putting like salt and lemon juice like on her boobs and stuff. And, like,
and the weird like shrimp running around on her stomach.
Yeah, he puts like the shrimp in like a bowl of soy sauce, and then like puts it on her stomach, and then it's like still alive as it's like all this crazy shit. It's such a bizarre scene. And
somebody must be doing it somewhere, man.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we did hear something through the Reddit. Like, there's like a making of documentary about the movie, and they show the making of that scene. And like, from what people on Reddit were saying, there's like the actress looks very uncomfortable with doing a lot of the stuff. So it's a little, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen the behind the scenes.
I really hope they get. I hope they both got paid well enough for that shit, because that was nuts.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's like uncomfortable with doing the stuff or just with the fact like all the food is there. Just it could be a lot of things. I have no idea what the context of that is, but that's just what I heard.
Man. It's funny. Like, I almost want to talk it's like I didn't write all of them down because there were so many of them, and I'm with you. I kind of stopped taking notes when I just wanted to enjoy the movie. But it's like I almost feel like every single one of the break-off scenes about some random situation, it's like I almost don't want to leave any of them out talking about them because they're all so awesome in their own way. Like one of my favorites was all the businessmen sitting in the French restaurant.
That's one of my favorites.
And there's like the one young executive guy who like, you know, he like actually knows his food and his wine, and the dude next to him is like, you know, you're fucking you're doing this all wrong. You got to eat what the fucking boss eats. And I just love that this scene was pointless. Like it didn't go anywhere. Like the waiter leaves with the order. It was just this random fucking thing. It was so nuts.
Yeah, it almost felt like it was shot in a way like it almost felt like a commercial for something. Like, you know, they like all the executives ordered the same things, and then the one young guy orders something different. It almost felt like a beer commercial. Like they're all drinking Heineken, and then like he orders like a Coors Light or something like that, and it's like "Be different" or something like that would be like the tagline.
yeah,
or
dude,
"Dare
seriously.
to be different." But I love that scene too because I wasn't paying attention as much the first time, but so like. They're a bunch of Japanese businessmen, but they're going to like a French restaurant, and all the stuff on the menu is like in French, and there's no Japanese anywhere. So I feel like they heard what the first guy ordered, and then they just copied it because nobody wanted to seem like they didn't know what was on the menu.
Yeah, and then they couldn't read French.
Yeah, and then the one young guy who like just started there actually knows French cuisine pretty well, and like is ordering like nice bottles of wine, like escargot and like all this stuff. It's kind of funny. It's just a nice little scene.
My favorite detail about the scene was how much the waiter, how excited he got when he realized the guy knew what he was talking about. Like he's just not, it's clearly uncommon for him.
Yeah, and he doesn't break either when the guy next to him is like kicking him. Is like, hey, stop! You're gonna embarrass us all.
Yeah.
And there's even that like over the top.
What I want.
Is over the top moment where they like pan away and like all the guys have like over the top really red faces.
Yeah, I noticed that. I couldn't for a second. I thought it was just like an issue in the editing, and I was like, oh no, this is absolutely intentional. Like they're all super uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just like that's the thing is it's like bite-sized little short films almost on top of the movie that's going on.
Yeah, that's so strange. I've never seen a movie do anything like that, but it worked. It worked so well. Yeah,
and then what was that one with the ladies like trying to eat spaghetti, like how to eat the proper like westernized
what the fuck
way.
Was that?
Yeah,
it was like she was training them that if they're ever in another country, like this is how you need to eat.
Yeah, it's like rude to like slurp your noodles, and then they all end up like slurping their noodles anyway.
Because speaking of slurping, I have to bring this up because it drove me insane. So there's a scene where Tampopo and the new noodle guy that the old guy who choked assigned to her, that he was like the guy's chef, and he assigns him to her A team or whatever. So like there's this one quick scene where they're like trying to figure out how to make the perfect noodles or whatever, and they're outside this other ramen shop like eating their noodles out of the trash or whatever. And when they finally go inside to eat the noodles, there are these like weird zippy cartoon sound effects while they're eating the noodles, and that's the only scene where it happened. Like, did you notice this?
Yeah, honestly, I thought that was in that scene with the ladies eating the noodles. I thought that's where that happened. But when it happened in that scene, I was like, oh, yeah. No.
Dude, no, it just happens in this one fucking scene. I paid attention. Like, just in that one scene, the noodles make these weird zippy cartoon noises. Like, that was somebody's choice to do that. It's so strange.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was. It was just like it seems like such a random choice to make.
Yeah, but it's just like par for the course.
Yeah, it's just flavor, It's this whole movie is about like flavor and like peppering in these like little things that keep your attention the whole time. But
yeah,
God.
I mean, I was in tears when she finally got it right, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not ashamed to say it.
Yeah, it's such a gratifying moment too, because like That's one of the nice things about the movie is like nobody pulls any punches about her ramen the whole time. Like they're like,
yeah,
you know,
because
like
they're all fucking invested.
Yeah, and they care a lot too, and and she like builds this whole team around her, and like it's I don't know, it's very uplifting. But I love all the little like scenes where she's like trying to make the perfect broth, and like that whole random scene where she ends up going to that one place and she pays the guy wants like 1,000,000 yen for like his broth recipe, but the guy's like, if you come back at midnight, I'll show you like how he makes his broth and all this stuff. And then like it like cuts to like a scene like where they're at another place like talking shit about the guy's broth or something like that. It's like, oh, you use anchovies in your broth, and he's like, no, I don't. Like this whole thing. He's like, well, we'll come to your restaurant tomorrow and like try your broth, and then they're like beating the shit out of them. And it just turns out it was like a nightmare that she's having.
Yes.
About like stealing the broth.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
No. But that was it. It was just like, and I was watching it and I'm like, I didn't remember that like it was like a nightmare. I was like, I don't remember where the fuck this goes. Like, how does this get resolved? And like, it's just like kind of those one-off things. It doesn't add anything, but it like, she like doesn't want to like steal. Like she wants to like learn how to make it herself and not, you know, steal it, I guess is like the whole point.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And there was something that stuck with me. And I don't know why, but because there was so much about the movie that I thought was awesome up until that point. But there was this one shot like in the middle of that nightmare scene where it's like, you know, after they piss them off and it's the next morning and the guys from that shop are walking, like they're walking on the sidewalk toward her ramen shop. And there's like, it was the moment where I said out loud to myself, okay, this movie's fucking badass. Like I literally said that out loud to myself because it's the shot of the dudes walking, like fucking walking on the sidewalk like they're about to go fuck some shit up, and there's like a monorail going by behind them, and it was such a beautiful shot. For such an insignificant part of the movie. It was a couple of seconds during this nightmare scene that has nothing to do with anything. And it was just this beautiful shot from like down on the ground of this squad of cartoon looking angry ramen chefs coming down the fucking sidewalk and this badass train. Like, I know that they waited for the train to go by in that very moment to create the motion in the back of that scene. And like, I just had to pause it and be like, the amount of effort to go into this few seconds that 99.9% of people are not going to give a shit about. Like, I just had to stop and appreciate it for a second.
Yeah. And yeah, there's so much craft to the movie. Like, and I think that's the thing is like, the movie looks deceptively simple, like on the surface, but there's a lot going on cinematography wise. Like the lighting is perfect, like all the way through the movie. And that's one thing I like kept coming back to. And like all the sound design is pretty much perfect. And like, there's even a scene where he's like timing her to like get the noodles out, and like all the sound like drops out of the mix and you just hear this clock ticking like really intensely. And it was a beautiful moment of sound design, and I loved it. And it doesn't really add anything to it, but it's just like, you know, it's like another essence of like just, you know, style and flavor and to the whole overall movie. It's just, I don't know, it's great.
Yeah. Fucking awesome, dude. And it's funny, it's like we don't even need to, like I know sometimes we'll do kind of a chronological scene by scene. What I love about this movie is you don't need to, like, you can just fucking jump around because the whole thing was just candy. It was cinema candy.
Yeah, you don't really need to like keep a cohesion to it because like the whole movie just it's a blur in your memory anyway, I think. Yeah.
I mean, can we talk about the character arc with the fucking asshole dude at the shop at the beginning who he ends up getting in a fight with? This epic fucking under the bridge, like hilarious fight scene that was so well shot and choreographed. It's like,
yeah, I was just talking about that. I was like, the choreography of like the punches and like the way that they're fighting looks great, and it's all in silhouette. It's like, it's perfect.
Yeah, it was fucking perfect, and it's this just kind of meaningless scene. Then they're besties, and oh man.
Yeah, they gain each other. Well, I love too that the reason he wants to fight again, he's like, I know you felt outnumbered the other night, and like we kind of kicked your ass, but it wasn't a fair fight, so let's fight again right now.
Yeah, yeah. And it was funny too because I remember thinking when he finds him, you know, the main dude, he's been doing all this work to try to get her shop together or whatever, and he looks exhausted. And I remember thinking when the guy asked him to go one-on-one, he was just gonna be like, dude, like, I don't have the fucking energy. But he doesn't even hesitate. He just starts taking his clothes off. He's like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, and then they're on the ground, and he's like, yeah, it was like a welterweight like boxer or something like that. And he's like, yeah, you're pretty good for an amateur. They're just best friends.
Yeah,
through the rest of the movie.
It's fucking perfect. He ends up finally giving her the right recipe to become their signature recipe.
Yeah. Yeah, or he's the interior designer guy. He's like, I'll do the interior to your into a ramen shop or something.
Yeah, but he's also the dude who gives her at the very end when she's it's like the second to last time that she tries to make it, and he's like, let me give you my home recipe or whatever, where he puts like the shit on top.
It's like the scallions and like chopped pork or something like that.
Yeah, and it like completes the recipe, and all the guys are like, this is going to be the signature dish. He ends up being a super important part of the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, the redesign of the shop was beautiful.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of like the older, danker look of the place, but that's just me.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
I'm alone on this one. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
But then she gets her new outfit and all of her makeup because, you know, she needs those men to make her pretty.
Yeah. Actually, I felt bad for her because they were like, there's that scene where she's like getting dressed up and like the guy, I think it's Goro, I think is his name, the guy with the John Wayne hat.
The main guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, no, she's like, she's pretty the way she is. Like, you guys shouldn't change her. He's like, and they're like, oh, it's just because you like her, but she's like a 40-year-old frumpy, like, middle-aged housewife or something. Like.
It's Gunn. It's his young partner dude who's giving him all that shit. And he's an interesting character in this because he's very much not involved in most of the movie. He's just kind of there.
Yeah, he's just like a good buddy. He's just like, well, I'll go with you. He's just like, he's always around with him, just hanging out.
Which leads me to the absolute absurdity of the plot period that like they're these truckers, they're clearly working for this company, and like they're on a job when they stop there, and then I know that like there's the scene where she's like where he leaves toward the beginning and she's like, you know, just on your off time, like, let me be your disciple, like, just come help me on your off time. But it's like, he's there the rest of the movie. Like, he would have had to have quit his job. Like, there's no way. Like, with how involved he gets.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, maybe it's like a local thing or something. I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't make that much sense.
It doesn't matter, there's
it's
no reason to...
It's a very heightened reality, the whole thing.
Yes.
It was fun watching this movie, like, after being in Japan for like a year, because there are moments of the movie where I recognized a lot of the food that they were eating. Like when they would go to a particular restaurant, I'm like, oh, they're like at a hot pot restaurant, or they're like at a yakiniku restaurant, where they're like grilling the stuff like in the table, like with their little grill and stuff. And just like all these little details of like either mostly Japanese cuisine. I didn't really see too much else, but just little details like that where I was like, oh, I know kind of like what they're eating or like what that tastes like. And like, it just kind of like heightened the whole experience where I was like, oh, I recognize like kind of everything that they're eating or doing, or when they're talking about the old guy at the beginning of the movie is like the perfect way to eat ramen. And like, yeah,
that scene was like fucking awesome.
He's like, you got to stop to appreciate the ramen or something like that. Like, what does he say? He's like, gaze upon it affectionately. And then he like talks to the ramen. He's like, until we meet again. And then he like taps it against the bowl and then eats it.
Yeah. And then until he and the pig meet again.
Yeah, and then the young guy with him is like, what's the significance of you like tapping against the bowl? He's like, I'm just trying to dry the liquid off of it.
Yeah, because every little thing it had so much. Yeah, the first thing he says is contemplate the ramen. I wrote that down.
Contemplate the ramen.
Contemplate the ramen.
It's so good. And then, but that's literally just he's like reading a book about some guy eating ramen the perfect way, and then they're like, "Hey, let's stop. I'm hungry," and then that's how they stop into the restaurant in the first place.
But isn't it the same actors? Isn't it the two of them in the dramatized version of the book? It seemed like it was.
Yeah. Well, it's I think it might be the young guy.
The sensei.
I don't think it's a sensei. I think it's another guy.
Damn,
well, I could be wrong.
I could have sworn it was the same young dude. I thought it was the same young dude, I thought it was the sensei actor playing the old guy.
I think it's the same young dude because I think he's imagining himself in that role, like while he's reading the book.
Okay.
But I don't know. Who knows, man?
Yeah. The perfect amount of surrealism, kind of blending in and out, you know.
I do have to talk about one of my favorite little vignette parts, and just because I think it's one of the funniest. I think it's towards the end of the movie. They kind of like cut away, and there's this old woman, and she walks into this grocery store. Do you remember this part?
Oh, dude, yeah. What the fuck, man? Straight up Dead Rising grocery store with a crazy old lady fucking squeezing all the food. Like, what the fuck?
I just love that she just goes in and just like is like pressing all the food, and the guy is chasing her around the store.
And he never. It's amazing. What's funny is he never yells. He never yells or says anything. It's just silent chasing.
Yeah, it's like a cartoon moment.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he like peeks around the corner and doesn't see her, and then she pokes her head around, and then they both see each other, and he runs after her. This is great.
Yeah. Fucking hilarious. I can't believe I almost forgot about that scene. That was nuts.
It's so, and like all the other vignettes, like it you know, it's like, it's totally its own thing, like its own little short film about, you know, nothing. Just about this weird little lady that just goes in and just presses all the cheese and peaches in the store.
Weird food stuff. Yeah, some of it could have easily doubled as like an Adult Swim short.
Yeah. Or actually, one of my favorite scenes of the movie is when they're in that hobo camp with all those guys that like know about food that he goes to find the sensei at. They take her son. He's like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "I want like omelet rice," which is, if you never had it, is amazing. It's so good.
No, I haven't. It looked really good. I've never seen someone cook an egg in such a satisfying way. Yeah,
and that whole little scene was like a little Charlie Chaplin skit or something like that.
Yeah, where they it had very 1920s like ragtime music in the background.
Yeah, they sneak into this kitchen, and then he gets the eggs and everything, and like omurice is really good. So you like, so I think he fried the rice, so it's like fried rice and a little bit of like tomato sauce or marinara sauce. He poured over the rice, and I think he cooked it with it. But then you put, you know, the omelet in like this really like kind of like oblong shape, and it's like really fluffy, and then you put it on top of there, and then like and then cut it open, and then put a little bit of you know, marinara sauce, and it's so good.
Yeah, it looked amazing, and I'm really glad. It was good advice. I'm really glad that I ate at the very beginning, because it would have been rough.
Yeah, it's it made me want ramen really bad, like the whole time watching this. It always gets me. Gets me hungry.
Yeah, this was a great call from both you guys. I was a huge fan.
Yeah. And then, the end of the movie with, I'll talk about that real quick.
Oh, yeah. The A-team artwork here is done situation.
Yeah. Oh, and I almost forgot about one other one. Was oh my God, the guy with the wife that's dying. You remember that one? Where,
oh, yeah. She cooks the last meal.
Yeah, he's like trying to keep her alive. He's like, "Go in the kitchen and cook right now." So she goes in there and like cooks like the last meal for the family, and like she makes the meal for everybody, and then she like keels over dead like at the end of it. And then I always think that scene's funny because like right after she keels over and the doctor's like, "She's dead, I'm sorry," he keeps eating the rice right afterwards.
Yeah, he's like, eat the food while it's hot. It's your mom's last meal. Eat it now.
Yeah, but I always think it would have been a funnier line if he's like, your mother killed herself making this food. I think it would have been funnier if he said,
she killed herself over this rice.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, like the cliche is like, your mom killed herself for this meal.
Yeah, missed opportunity there for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the end of the movie is like, you know, she obviously becomes successful and like has a really, really good at making ramen, and you know, all the guys that helped her, and then Goro, I think is his name. He rides off into the sunset on the truck, doesn't look back.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Wait, and can we talk about the fact that his new best friend, who he just got in a fight with, chases him down the street?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that shot when he's leaving and the guy like can't let him go? Like he's like, he's like, yeah, see you later, partner, or something like that, or what does he say? Yeah. So beautiful.
They became good buddies, man.
They became pals. I want to go to Tampopo's. You know, I feel like there's got to be a Tampopo's ramen somewhere in Japan.
Oh, we just looked it up. There are a bunch of Tampopo of ramen places.
Damn. Well, now when I come up there to Japan, that has to be our mission, is to figure out which Tampopo is the best. Wait, is it a chain?
No, it's a bunch of like, I think independent restaurants.
Yeah, so we're going to have to do like a ramen tour of all the Tampopos as a follow-up episode and figure out which one's truly the best.
Yeah, I feel like if you name your restaurant Tampopo, it's got to be really good though, to the last drop.
It has to be. Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. I'm through all my notes. Like I was just I really can't wait to force Kaylee to watch this with me. Just see how uncomfortable she gets.
Oh yeah, I think she'd like it though. I think it'd be a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it
you know,
was fucking awesome.
All the weird food sex stuff. Although there was that
food
one
sex stuff.
There was that one scene where the Yakuza guy goes down to the beach and eats the oyster.
Oh, with the oyster. Oh my god, what the fuck, dude? What was that shit, man? I thought that girl was like 12.
See, I thought the exact same thing. I was like, that girl doesn't look, she looks like she's 12. And I guess she wasn't. I mean, like, I don't think he could have gotten away with that otherwise, but
I don't know, man. It was the 80s.
It was the 80s, yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, she, you know, I mean, Japanese people look younger than they are sometimes. I don't know. Yeah, it did make me very uncomfortable, though. Didn't particularly like that.
I get the close-up shots of the oysters kind of being on par for all the other weird close-up shots of food, but nah. Also, I hate seafood. Like, I hate oysters, so it's just like I was nauseous during that scene for more than one reason.
Oh, you're gonna hate Japan then? It's only seafood everywhere.
Yeah, but like, yes, I can do seafood. I can do the fake Korean sushi, right? I can easily do it if the fish is covered in rice and other flavors and peppers and avocados and cool stuff. And I can do fish. I can do cooked fish but yeah, oysters, lobsters, shrimp, anything that looks like a fucking alien, or I don't know, man. I just can't do it. Anything gooey or chewy, no thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, a lot of the raw seafood is really good, and like the raw eggs are really good here too.
I believe you. I totally believe you. But there is a Taco Bell there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one here on base.
Okay, that's comforting.
But actually, one of my favorite scenes of the movie. This is the last one I'll talk about, but I just thought about this. There's a scene, and I think it's right after that first like weird food sex scene. But they go to like a train station ramen place, and it's all done in one shot, so it's really nice the way it's laid out. So they're just like sitting there watching this guy like make the ramen and stuff. And then they hear the train coming. There's like, oh, okay, like there's a bunch of people coming off the train, so they're probably going to want ramen. And then they just watch this guy take orders and like try to figure out like who got what when, and they're all ordering like different types of ramen and stuff. And then he asks her, he's like, they ordered this, they ordered this, they ordered this, and she's like, no, they ordered this, they ordered that, and she like remembered everything that they said. I don't know. It's a small scene, but I love that scene a lot. Just the way that it's played out, the composition of it is really nice, and I don't know. Yeah, it's a great little scene. It's very
it was. Dude, wait. Speaking of fucking train, can we talk about the scene of the dude with the rotten tooth?
Oh,
on the train, who goes to the fucking dentist. Dude, what the fuck was that scene? Like, I mean, I guess it's showing like it's the movie's making an effort to show us all sides of food and human interaction with it, right? So here's an example of a guy with a rotten tooth from eating food and not taking care of his teeth. And so we have to fucking what the fuck? They pull this gangrene tooth out and the fucking doctors open the window. Like, it was so random. I mean, I know it was all random, but like,
God. Like the smell is so bad they can't deal with it.
Yeah, God, it's just fucking insane. I love it. I love that the scene exists, but why?
Yeah, and then he's eating the ice cream and then gives it to the little girl at the end.
Oh, yeah. What? Yeah. What's, yeah. Just... Yeah, I guess you see why. It's like, it's showing... I guess that's what it's doing. It's showing an unhealthy relationship with food, right? Like, he's clearly not taking good care of his teeth and eating the right stuff, and here he is right after his fucking rotten tooth removal, eating ice cream and giving it to a kid who's trying to eat healthy, or his mom's trying to keep him eating healthy. I guess that's the point. Only when I talk about the scene does it kind of make sense in the context of the rest of the movie. But I feel like I had to stretch a little bit.
Yeah, it's I feel like the movie is kind of like whatever you make of it, but it's it's just very entertaining and just a really fun movie.
It was good fun.
Have you seen many foreign movies before?
Yeah, stuff here and there. I don't go out of my way, but here and there. I'm definitely open to more in the future.
Yeah, I'll throw some more your way. I want to show you a couple. I mean, like, this is like one of the tamer ones I have on on the surface.
Nice. Yeah, I'm ready for the weirdest shit you can throw at me.
I'll give you weird. I mean, this is weird, but like in a very like wholesome kind of way.
Yeah, it was weird wholesome. I'm really, really curious what your rating is going to be on this, because this is another tough one where it's like, I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's 0 for me. But I mean, like, obviously, like, having a couple of beers is really nice. Like, you have a great time watching it. And
that's where I'm at. I just watched it sober and fucking loved every second of it, but a few beers would have gone a long way.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. I mean, like, and like I said, it's just like, it's a very entertaining movie. So it's like, I think anything that you can like kind of turn your brain off to is like, you can have a couple of beers and really enjoy yourself and like not miss anything. So I don't know. Yeah. 0 to 5, like in that range.
The whole fucking scale.
But high quality, very high quality.
Yeah, I fucking loved it, man. It was a good pick. I'm a little bummed that we didn't watch Mr. Holland's Opus today. And
hey,
now,
we're gonna do it next week.
Well, we can, but now that we've watched this, I've got something else I want to show you. So
okay.
it you know, maybe Mr. Holland's Opus can wait a week or two, or I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I feel like I can't follow this with Mr. Holland's Opus. It's just like, I'll think about it.
You definitely can.
I'll think about it.
This is our podcast. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
That's true. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Hey, and you know what? We pretty much kept this at like a little over an hour. This is we were good. We were good on our timing for this one.
Yeah, no, this is a perfect episode.
Yeah, fucking A, dude.
Not too long.
Well, it's fucking good to be back. It is good to be back doing One Guy's Seen It with you. Thanks to any of you crazy people who are still out there listening to our dumb podcast. The greatest podcast in the world.
And go watch this movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
We
go
kinda spoiled
fucking
the whole
watch
thing, but-
Tampopo. Go watch Tampopo and then come to Japan with us. We'll have a big One Guy's Seen It meetup and we'll all go to all the Tampopos together.
Yeah,
And we'll all
take
decide collectively.
I'll take you to all the food I can from the movie when you get here.
That
was the
sounds
only
like
thing.
a fucking plan, my dude.
You know, of all the food that they showed in the movie, they didn't show any sushi. That was an interesting point.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, no sushi. Just every other thing you can eat in Japan.
Well, now you need to find a fucking movie about sushi for me. I'm sure there are a few.
Oh, there's one. There's a whole documentary about this guy making sushi. It's great.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
I'll wait until I've run out of other things, and I'll show you that movie.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, I guess it'd be a good time to wrap this up. Any final thoughts? Any closing thoughts on Tampopo?
No, it's great. You should watch it.
Yeah, same here. Big fan. We will be back hopefully next week with maybe
Yes.
Mr. Holland's Opus. We will see.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good.
All right, this has been One Guy's Seen It, and remember, Sumner,
Every movie's better with at least one beer or two
at
or
least
three,
one beer.
4, 5, 6.
One guy's seen it, the other guy hasn't. First guy's gonna tell the second guy all about it while they both get drunk.